When we get angry, we often think the cause is out there in the person who cut us off in traffic, in the colleague who made a snide remark, or in the friend who forgot to call us back. We tell ourselves, if they hadn't done this, I wouldn't feel this way. It's an easy story to believe because it places the blame elsewhere and absolves us of responsibility. But let's take a step back and really think about this for a moment. Can someone truly make you angry? Or is it that their actions touch something inside you, something that was already there? You see, anger doesn't begin with the outside world, it begins within. It's like a spark in dry grass. If there's no dry grass, the spark fades out. But if there is, it catches fire. That dry grass is the unresolved tension, the expectations, and the emotions you carry inside you. Anger isn't just about what happened, it's about how what happened collided with your inner world. And so the first step to never getting angry or bothered by people is to recognize that it's not really about them, it's about you. Think about it. Why do some people stay calm in situations that drive others up the wall? The same rude comment that makes one person's teeth might roll right off another person's back. It's not because the rude comment changes, but because each person hears it through their own lens. Their reactions are shaped by their past experiences, their insecurities, and the stories they tell themselves about how the world should be. When you get angry, it's often because something has clashed with your expectations, your idea of how people should behave, how they should treat you, or how the world should work. But let me ask you this, where do those expectations come from? Most of the time, they aren't consciously chosen. They're picked up from our culture, our upbringing, and our past. They operate like invisible scripts, and when life doesn't follow the script, we feel upset. Yet the script is not reality, it's just a story we've been telling ourselves. What if you could let go of that story? What if you could see situations not as they should be, but simply as they are? Now, this isn't about blaming yourself for feeling angry. Emotions arise, that's part of being human. But there's a difference between feeling anger and letting it control you. When you feel anger bubbling up, pause and look inward. Ask yourself, what expectation of mine has been challenged? Why does this bother me? You might find that the real source of your anger has little to do with the other person. So perhaps their comment triggered an old insecurity, or maybe their behavior reminded you of a past wound that hasn't fully healed. This kind of introspection is not easy, but it's powerful. It shifts your focus from trying to control others, which is impossible, to understanding yourself, which is entirely within your power. The moment you realize that your anger is yours, not theirs, you take back control. No longer are you at the mercy of other people's actions. You begin to see that the world doesn't have to change for you to find peace, you only have to change how you respond to it. This doesn't mean you become passive or accept poor treatment. It's not about letting people walk all over you. It's about responding to challenges from a place of strength and clarity instead of letting anger cloud your judgment. When you truly understand the source of your anger, you can address situations more effectively. You can set boundaries calmly instead of exploding. You can express your feelings without letting them control you. There's a profound freedom in this realization. The world will always be full of people who act in ways you don't like. You can't stop the rude comments, the inconsiderate behavior, or the occasional thoughtlessness of others. But you can stop letting those things disturb your inner peace. You can choose to see them as they are just fleeting actions, not personal attacks. Imagine how liberating it would be to move through life unbothered small irritations that used to set you off. Imagine the energy you'd save, the clarity you'd gain. But that's the gift you give yourself when you stop looking outward for the cause of your anger and start looking inward for its solution. In the end, anger is not something that happens to you, it's something you participate in. And when you realize this, you can step out of the game entirely. You can meet life with calm, with understanding, and with the quiet power of someone who knows that no one else holds the key to their peace. The next time anger arises, don't rush to blame the spark. Instead, tend to the dry grass within you. Because, my friends, the fire only burns where there is something to ignite. Let's talk about control, or more specifically, the illusion of control. Much of the frustration, irritation, and anger we feel stems from the futile effort to control what we simply cannot. We want people to act a certain way, to say the right things, to respect our feelings, to meet our expectations. And when they don't, oh, that's when the storm begins. But let's stop for a moment and consider this what makes us believe we have the right or even the ability to control anyone else's behavior. And people are like rivers. They flow in their own way, shaped by their own histories, beliefs, and emotions. To try and control them is like standing in a rushing stream, demanding the water flow in reverse. It doesn't work, and it leaves you exhausted and angry. Yet this is exactly what we do when we hold tightly to the idea that others must behave the way we think they should. Think about it. When someone speaks or acts in a way that bothers you, your immediate reaction is often resistance. Why would they say they're that? How could they do that? You play it over and over and over in your mind, as though replaying it enough times will change what happened. But it never does it? The more you resist, the more tangled you become in your own frustration. This resistance stems from attachment, the attachment to an ideal version of reality where people behave exactly as you wish. But reality is rarely ideal. People are messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright inconsiderate. That's the nature of humanity. And here's the key: the more you fight against this truth, the more you suffer. But the moment you accept it, you're free. Acceptance isn't about giving up or agreeing with bad behavior. It's about recognizing that you cannot control others, only your response to them. When you detach from the need to control how others act, you liberate yourself from the constant tug of war that anger brings. You begin to see that their actions are simply expressions of who they are, not reflections of your worth or validation of your feelings. Now, you might be thinking, but if I let go of control, won't people just walk all over me? Not at all. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring or setting boundaries. It means you stop attaching your emotional state to things outside your power. You can still address issues, stand up for yourself, and make decisions about how you engage with others, but you do so from a place of clarity, not chaos. Imagine someone says something hurtful to you. Your instinct might be to lash out or to dwell on it for hours, replaying the moment in your head. But if you've let go of the need to control their behavior, you might see their comment in a new light. Maybe they were speaking from their own pain. Maybe their words had nothing to do with you at all. Or maybe they're simply behaving in a way that reflects their own struggles. Whatever the case, their actions are theirs, not yours. This perspective shifts everything. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with understanding or perhaps no response at all. You save your energy for things that truly matter rather than wasting it trying to bend others to your will. Detachment is not indifference, it's wisdom. It's the recognition that your peace is far too valuable to hand over to someone else's momentary behavior. But letting go of the need to control others is also an act of trust. It's trusting that life flows as it should, even when people don't act the way you'd like. It's trusting that your worth isn't tied to their approval. Your happiness isn't tied to their kindness. And your peace isn't tied to their actions. This trust allows you to step back, to breathe, to let the river flow as it will. Over time, this practice becomes a habit. You'll begin to see people not as obstacles to your peace, but as reflections of their own journeys. You recognize that their behavior isn't a test of your patience, but an opportunity for you to practice freedom from anger, from frustration, from the exhausting need to control. So, the next time someone does something that tempts you to react, pause. Instead of asking, how could they do that, ask, why am I trying to control what's not mine to control? Let their actions be theirs and yours be yours. Because peace isn't found in controlling the world, it's found in releasing the need to. And remember, the river flows as it must, not as you will it. To fight it is to lose, but to let it flow is to find peace. Building emotional immunity is a bit like strengthening the body's immune system. Just as exposure to challenges makes the body more resilient to disease, exposure to life's difficult moments can teach us how to remain calm in the face of negativity. The problem is, most of us aren't taught how to handle these moments constructively. Instead, we react. We flare up. We let the actions of others seep into our minds, poisoning our peace. But there is another way. Imagine for a moment that you're walking through a crowded marketplace and someone bumps into you. They mutter something rude and continue on their way. Now you could let their behavior ruin your day. You could replay the moment, feel insulted, and let it eat away at you. Or you could simply step aside, acknowledge their bad mood as theirs, not yours, and continue walking. The choice is always there, even if it doesn't feel like it in the heat of the moment. And the key to emotional immunity lies in cultivating the space between stimulus and response. When someone says or does something hurtful, there's always a brief moment before you react. In that moment, you have a choice to absorb their negativity or to deflect it. Most of you realize we have this choice because we're so used to reacting instinctively. But that pause, that tiny space, is where your power lies. You might wonder, how do we strengthen this space? It starts with awareness. The next time you feel anger or irritation rising, notice it. Don't try to push it away or suppress it. That only makes it stronger. Instead, observe it. Where do you feel it in your body? What thoughts accompany it? Treat it like a curious bystander watching a passing storm. The storm will pass, but only if you allow it to move through. Once you've observed the emotion, ask yourself, is this worth my peace 9 times out of 10? The answer will be no. Most of the things that anger us in the moment lose their importance when viewed from a broader perspective. That rude comment, that dismissive tone, it's also fleeting. So small in the grand scheme of things. Why hand over your inner peace to something so temporary? It's also important to recognize that the negativity of others is not about you. When someone lashes out or behaves poorly, they are often projecting their own pain or frustration. They are revealing something about themselves, not about you. By personalizing their actions, you make their pain your own. And that's a burden you don't need to carry. This understanding doesn't come overnight, of course. It's a skill you cultivate over time, like a muscle you train. Each time you choose not to react, to strengthen your emotional immunity. Each time you let someone's negativity pass by without absorbing it, you become a little stronger, a little freer. But immunity doesn't mean you stop feeling altogether. It's not about becoming numb or indifferent. It's about learning to respond to life with clarity rather than reactivity. When you're emotionally immune, you can still care deeply, still empathize, still stand up for yourself when needed, but you do so from a place of strength, not weakness. You respond rather than react. Think of it like standing in the rain with a strong umbrella. The rain still falls, the wind still blows, but you remain dry. Emotional immunity is your umbrella. It doesn't stop the challenges from coming, but it protects you from being drenched in negativity. As you practice this, you might notice something remarkable. You start to see difficult people and situations as opportunities rather than obstacles. Each time someone tests your patience, you have a chance to practice staying grounded. Each time life throws you a curveball, you have a chance to grow stronger. The very things that once bothered you become your teachers, your stepping stones to greater resilience. And isn't that a liberating thought? To know that no matter what someone says or does, no matter how unfair or unkind the world might seem, you have the power to remain calm, centered, and unshaken. If that power doesn't come from controlling others or changing the world, it comes from mastering yourself. So the next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, remember you don't go. You can stay in your own calm center, watching the storm rage around you without letting it touch you. Because true strength isn't about winning every battle, it's about not being drawn into battles that aren't worth fighting. And in the end, that's the kind of strength that lasts. When someone behaves poorly, when they say something hurtful, act rudely, or dismiss you, it's natural to take it personally. You feel the sting, the slight, the sense that their actions were aimed directly at you. But what if I told you that most of the time their behavior isn't about you at all? What if their actions are simply a reflection of their own struggles, their own fears, their own pain? You see, we all carry unseen burdens. We carry childhood wounds, insecurities, and worries about the future. And sometimes when people lash out or act thoughtlessly, it's not because they're deliberately trying to hang, it's because they're wrestling with something inside themselves. Their behavior is like smoke rising from a fire within them. If you focus only on the smoke, you'll miss the deeper cause. Let's say someone snaps at you unexpectedly. Your first reaction might be to feel offended, to think, how dare they treat me like this? But pause for a moment and consider what might they be going through. Did they wake up this morning feeling overwhelmed? Are they carrying stress you can't see? Is their reaction more about their inner world than about anything you've done? This shift in perspective is powerful because it allows you to step out of your own story and into theirs. It doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior or let people treat you poorly, but it does mean you see their actions for what they are, projections of their own reality. When you do this, you free yourself from the need to take their behavior personally. Now, this isn't always easy. We're wired to interpret others' actions in relation to ourselves. If someone ignores us, we think, what did I do wrong? If someone criticizes us, we think, why are they attacking me? But what if their actions have nothing to do with you? What if their silence is because they're lost in thought? What if their criticism is rooted in their own frustrations? By choosing empathy over reaction, you reclaim your power. Instead of being drawn into their negativity, you remain grounded. Instead of letting their actions dictate your mood, you stay in control of your inner peace. Empathy allows you to see beyond the surface and understand that everyone is doing the best they can with the tools they have at any given moment. Think about the times you've been short with someone, not because you didn't care about them, but because you were stressed, tired, or dealing with your own challenges. In those moments, your behavior wasn't a reflection of them, it was a reflection of you. And the same is true for others. Recognizing this creates a bridge of understanding. It reminds you that we're all human, navigating the same messy, unpredictable world. Of course, there will be moments when empathy feels impossible, when someone's behavior seems intentionally hurtful. In those times, it helps to remember that people often act out of their own pain. Hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. It's not an excuse, it's a lens through which to see their actions more clearly. It's a way to step back and say, this is not about me, this is about them. Practicing empathy also doesn't mean you become a doormat. You can empathize with someone's struggles while still holding them accountable for their actions. You can say, I understand where you're coming from, but I won't tolerate being treated this way. Empathy is not weakness, it's strength, the ability to see the humanity in others without losing sight of your own. When you begin to see through the eyes of others, you'll notice as something remarkable your anger starts to dissolve. The things that once triggered you lose their power. You no longer feel the need to fight every battle or defend yourself against every slight. Instead, you respond with grace, understanding that their behavior is a reflection of them, not of you. And in that understanding, there's immense freedom. You no longer feel burdened by the actions of others. You no longer carry the weight of their negativity. You see their struggles, their pain, their humanness, and you let it pass without letting it stick to you. The next time someone does something that stings, take a moment to pause. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, what might they be going through? What pain might they be carrying? This doesn't mean their actions are acceptable or that you should tolerate disrespect. But it does mean you approach the situation with clarity, not judgment. Because when you choose empathy over reaction, you break the cycle. You stop letting their pain create pain in you. You stop the ripple of negativity in its tracks. And in doing so, you bring a little more peace, not just to yourself, but to the world around you. Remember, the actions of others are rarely about you. They are reflections of their own inner world. And when you see that, you free yourself from the chains of anger and resentment. You become unshakable. Let's turn our attention to one of the simplest, yet most powerful tools we possess, the breath. It's always with you, always constant, always flowing, yet how often do you truly pay attention to it? When the storms of life rage, when people upset you, when frustration creeps in, the breath becomes your anchor. It doesn't ask for anything. It simply reminds you to return to the present moment. Think about what happens when someone angers or frustrates you. Your heart rate speeds up, your body tenses, your mind races with thoughts of retaliation or defense. You're suddenly anywhere but here, lost in the past, rehashing what they said, or in the future, imagining what you'll say in response. But in all this, you forget one simple truth right now, in this very moment. You are okay. You're alive. And your breath is proof of that. The breath is extraordinary because it is both automatic and voluntary. You don't have to think about it to survive, yet you can consciously control it at any moment. And in controlling it, you control so much more. When you're angry or upset, your breath becomes shallow and rapid. But when you slow it down, when you take deep, deliberate breaths, something remarkable happens. Your body begins to relax, your mind begins to clear, and suddenly the situation that seemed so overwhelming starts to feel manageable. This is not some mystical concept, it's biology. Your breath directly influences your nervous system. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms you down, lowers your heart rate, and helps you think more clearly. It's as if your breath is the key to a hidden door, and behind that door lies your peace, your clarity, your ability to see things as they truly are. So when someone tries to provoke you, when they push your buttons, pause. Before you react, take a breath. Not a hurried, shallow breath, but a deep, intentional one. Inhale fully, feeling the air fill your lungs. Hold it for a moment, then exhale slowly, as if you're releasing not just the air, but the tension, the frustration, the need to react. What happens next is subtle but profound. That moment of breathing gives you space to step back, space to observe, space to choose your response, rather than letting your emotions choose for you. You begin to realize that the power to remain calm has been within you all along. It's not something others can take away unless you let them. And here's something else to consider. When you focus on your breath, you bring your awareness to the present moment. You stop dwelling on what someone said or did a few minutes ago, and you start worrying about what might happen next. You return to the now, where life is unfolding, where you have the power to act with intention rather than react with emotion. This practice of returning to the breath is like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it becomes. At first it might feel unnatural, especially when you're in the heat of the moment. But with time it becomes second nature. You'll find yourself breathing through situations that would have once sent you spiraling. This doesn't mean you won't feel anger or frustration. Those emotions are part of being human. But the breath allows you to feel them without being consumed by them. It's the difference between noticing a storm and being swept away by it. When you breathe deeply, you anchor yourself. You stay grounded, even as the winds howl around you. Over time, this practice creates a ripple effect. When you remain calm, the people around you feel it too. Your composure becomes contagious. The energy of the moment shifts not because you forced it, but because you chose to approach it with calm and clarity. And isn't that a remarkable power to have? To know that no matter what chaos unfolds around you, your breath is there to guide you back to yourself. To know that peace is not something you have to chase. It's something you carry within you, waiting to be accessed with a single deliberate inhale. The next time life tests you, the next time someone says or does something that shakes you, don't rush to respond. Instead, breathe. Feel the air enter your body, grounding you in the present. Feel it leave, taking with it the tension and the need to react. And as you do, remember you are not the storm. You are the calm within it. It is filled with moments that test us, situations that challenge our sense of equilibrium, and their equilibrium. And often the most difficult tests come not from events, but from people. It's easy to get drawn into their negativity, their chaos, their drama. But what if, instead of reacting, you chose to respond in a way that didn't add to the chaos? What if, when faced with conflict or negativity, you responded with love and understanding? Now, this might sound lofty, even idealistic. After all, when someone is rude or unkind, love is probably the last thing on your mind. But consider for a moment the power of such a response. When someone lashes out, they're often trapped in their own struggle, their anger, their negativity. It's not about you. It's about what they're going through, what they haven't yet learned to process or release. When you respond to their anger with anger of your own, you fuel the fire. You become part of the same cycle, the same energy, the same struggle. But when you respond with love, when you choose understanding over retaliation, you break the cycle. You bring a different energy into the interaction, one that has the power to diffuse tension and create connection. This doesn't mean you have to accept bad behavior or let people walk all over you. Responding with love doesn't mean being passive or suppressing your own needs. It means addressing the situation from a place of clarity and compassion rather than reactivity. It means asking yourself, what is the most constructive kind and grounded way I can respond to this moment? Think about it. When someone speaks harshly to you, it's easy to mirror their tone, to let their negativity dictate yours. But in doing so, you give away your power. You allow their state of mind to control yours. What if instead you paused and chose to respond differently? What if instead of snapping back, you said something gentle, or even offered a kind gesture, imagine the effect that would have not just on them, not on them, but on you. When you respond with love, you stay in control of your inner state. You don't let their negativity seep into your peace, and often your response can shift the energy of the entire situation. This doesn't mean every act of love will be met with gratitude. Sometimes people are too caught up in their own struggles to recognize kindness when it's offered. But their reaction isn't what matters. What matters is that you've chosen to act from a place of strength, not weakness, clarity, not confusion. Responding with love also doesn't mean you have to engage with everyone who challenges you. Sometimes the most loving response is to walk away, to set a boundary, to choose silence over words. Love doesn't always look like forgiveness or reconciliation. It can also look like self-respect and protection. But whether you stay or go, whether you speak or remain silent, your response comes from a place of intention. It comes from an understanding that love is not. It isn't about changing others, it's about changing how you engage with the world. And here's the beautiful thing: when you choose to respond with love, you create a ripple effect. Your calmness, your kindness, your clarity, it spreads. It touches others in ways you may never see or know. The person you're kind to might carry that energy forward, sharing it with someone else. And just like that, your single act of love becomes part of something much larger. Responding with love doesn't mean you'll never feel anger or frustration. Those emotions are natural, and they have their place. But love allows you to move beyond those emotions. It allows you to feel them without being consumed by them. It gives you the space to choose your response, to act in a way that aligns with your values rather than your impulses. And this choice, simple as it may seem, is transformative. It's what allows you to remain calm in the face of chaos. It's what allows you to meet negativity with grace. It's what allows you to create peace not just within yourself, but in the world around you. So the next time someone tests your patience or challenges your peace, remember you have a choice. You can react, adding fuel to the fire. Or you can respond with love, becoming the calm in the storm. And in doing so, you'll discover something remarkable: the power to transform not just the moment, but yourself. Because love is not a weakness, it's the ultimate strength. And when you choose to respond with love, you're not just protecting your peace, you're cultivating a world where peace can thrive.